Those are his power. But in that rush of dopamine, head starts adjusting. He starts softening his edges, shrinking himself down, trying to fit into her world instead, off standing solid in his own. And thoughts when the dynamic flips. She stops seeing a man and starts seeing a guy, trying to impress, trying to be cool, trying to win her. And just like that, the attraction disappears. This video isn't about judgment. It's about clarity. It's about helping you keep your dignity, your masculinity, and your self-respect intact in the face of temptation, admiration, or of a genuine connection. We're going to talk about what not to do when you're in the presence of a younger woman, and how a stoic man, a grounded man, a man in full possession of himself would approach his entire situation differently. These is Orange's dating tips. Their life strategies do so. If you're tired, off-bung, confused, manipulated, or thrown off course by Simone, who hasn't even lived half your life yet, this is going to be a wake-up call you didn't know you needed. Stick around. Because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly where men fall and how you can rise by doing less. Not more. 1. Don't try to be her age. You're another peer. One of the Moscow mistakes older men make when engaging with younger women is trying to rank themselves down to her world. It's trying to talk like her, confidence versus desperation like her, or pretend they get her pop culture references. It usually starts from a good place, the two connect to relate. But what actually happens is the complete opposite. You lose the very thing that made you interesting in the first place. Vehement, you try to act like her peer. She stops seeing you as the grounded, composed, experienced man and starts seeing you as someone trying too hard, and no matter how subtly you do, she can feel it. Women, especially younger ones, have a sense for authenticity. When an older man tries to be cool, be mimicking her lifestyle, it feels off. Not because of the age gap, but because of the insecurity on earth. The reality is, your age is not your disadvantage. It's your edge. You've lived, you've rationed, you've verisened. Gain carry something. Shadowsed. Haven, understand yet. Presence a deep. Punchable presence that only comes from time in the trenches of life. That's what draws her in. Not your ability, Tonami. Some trending TikTok dance or quit her favorite Netflix show. But to fawn older men feel they have to keep up, when in fact, the most attractive thing you can do is slow down. Be still, be solid. Let her run her youthful around you while you stand firm in your center. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're on a date Anch mentioned show, obsessed she is with some 23-year-old influencer. You could pretend you know who that is. Laugh along. Maybe even pull out your fine fake scroll like you follow them too. Or you could simply smile and say, I don't follow that stuff much. I'm more into conversations that daunt a sapper in 2 for hours. It's that one, the trap of over-compensions. Strength. That's difference. That's mystery. And that's sexically what catches her off guard in best way possible? Not because you are trying to burr, but because reminding her you're innate. That is paradox. It's the moment you stop trying to be relatable, you become magnetic. 2, don't become her emotional sponge. Another trap older men often fall into becoming the emotional spong for a anger woman, absorbing all her chaos, confusion, and childhood wounds, and the nama, being there for her, it starts innately enough. She opens up a past. Maybe her ex treated her badly. Maybe her parents were never around. Maisha's working on herself. And because you're older and emotional mature Euliston, you want to help, you feel like maybe, just maybe, she'll see something in you she can't find in boys her age. But slowly you find yourself being her therapist. Her emotional dumping ground, her midnight phone call. When life feels overwhelming and deep down, you think is building a connection. Think I'm one who understands her. She'll coos me. But the truth, that's no romantic bonding, it's emotional outsourcing. Women, especially younger ones, unconsciously gravitate toward older men for a sense of stability. Beautif, you confuse emotional caretaking with attraction. You'll get stuck in the most frustrating position possible. The zone dressed up as intimacy. You'll hear about her bad decisions, her confusing dates, her mental health spirals. But none of it will lead to respect or desire. Why? Because because a stoic man doesn't tend to himself in drama to feel needed. He provides calm by simply buying calm. He listens without rescuing. He offers insight without investment. There's a difference between beyond emotionally available and emotionally absorbent. Onez grounded. The other is needy. Dress it up as nice. Imagine Shu crying about their latest situationship and instead off diving into fix-it mode. You just say that sounds like a lot. I hope you give yourself space to figure it out. The tone. Line. It signals that to a present bet, not caught. She feels didn't Trito impress her. Seen but notable to latch on and pull you into her emotional storm. That's stoicism in practice. It's not about being cold. It's about knowing the difference between offering presence and sacrificing your peace. A man who's mastered his emotions doesn't let Simon Else's turbulence pull him off course, no matter how pretty the storm looks. 3. You never chase her validation. There's a subtle but deadly mistake that older men make when dealing with younger women, and that's chasing validation. It doesn't always look desperate, okay? And sometimes it hides behind compliments, over-explaining yourself, we guess her, or subtly seeking assurance that she still likes you. But energy underneath it is always same. Do you approve of me? And the moment she senses that energy theonomic is ruined Becco's no material age, status or experience I've sure, orbiting around her opinion of few. You've given her thepor. You've made her the judge. Theporize, the one with the leverage. And women, especially younger ones, are hypersensitive to us imbalance. It's instinctive. They're not always conscious of it. But they can feel wean a man as subtle bending for their approval. Instead, off-standing rooted in his own worth. A stoic man does not bug for attention. He does need to be constantly seen, acknowledged, or praised to feel centered. His sense of value is not up for debate. She's interested? Great. If not, also great. Ha! He moves forward. Either way, that level of emotional self-sufficiency is magnetic, because while other men are dancing like court gestures, trying to get a smile or a heart emoji, he's simply being the red dot, and that unbothered energy isn't cold, it's rare. And rarity is powerful. Let's say she leaves your massage on red. A man chasing validation might double text, drop a meme, or say something passive-aggressive like ses, urobasy, lol. But a grounded man, he doesn't avenge. He's not playing games. But he's also not playing catch, because he's not waiting to be chosen. He already chose himself, and that's what makes Harris respect yourself. First stop. Scroll back and wonder why. Are you not reacting the way every other man does? When you stop chasing hairy action, you become the one worth reacting to. 4. Don't try to impress. Lead instead. There's a huge difference between impressing a woman and leading her. And most men, especially older ones, trying to win over a younger woman get caught in the trap of the first. They start listing off accomplishment like Arzum K. They drop casual mentions off Vecker. They drive the places they've at, the money they've used, made, or the connections they have. And while some off that might be impressive on paper, it rarely has the effect you think it will back us. Women don't fall for your words. They fall for the way you move. Impressing comes from a place of lack. It says, look at me. But leading says, here's where I'm going. You're welcome to join if it aligns with you. Seek supervel. The other offers direction. The more you treat to prove your value, the more you're reviled that you don't fully believe in it. That's the paradox.as. A stoic man leads by example, no exhibition. He doesn't need to broadcast this worth. It just shows up in the way he carries himself. She doesn't need a PowerPoint off your achievements. She needs to feel your certainty, your clarity, your grounded presence. A younger woman, especially once told, figuring out her own path, doesn't want to be dazzled, wants to feel, and only a man who trusts his own path can give her that picture of thieves. You're out to dinner with her. Instead offering to impress her with stories off sex or subtly name-dropping who yout know. You order the meal with confidence, make eye contact with the waiter and lead the conversation without rushing or golf. You ask thoughtful questions, not to impress her, but 'cause you're genuinely curious, Abutho. Her mind works. That's leadership. That's presence. And that's what sticks in her memory. What young women actually respect when the night is over. Not how mock you made last year, but how solid felt in your energy. Impressing is a bother. Leading is about you. And when you lead, she naturally follows. Not Beikosu asked her to, but Beck. Kashuans 2. 5. Dawn. Project long-term fantasies early. On-off the most dangerous things an older man can Daohan dealing with a younger woman is tap project. A future onto her buffer. There's even a foundation. You go on a few dates, have some deep conversations, maybe there's chemistry, maybe you have an intimacy, and suddenly in your mind, she's the one. You start imagining what life would be like if she moved. In how your friends would react, what kind of vocations you'd talk at her through life, how you'd guide her through life and help her grow. It happens fast, too fast, and it usually stems from a quietlightness, a desire for significance, or the hope thought. This woman will somehow complete you or give your life a new sense of meaning. But what you're really doing is building. Fantasy out of thin air. You're not relating to her as she is. You're relating to the version of her you've recreated in your head. Stoicism teaches us to stay grounded in reality, not in wishful thinking or romantic illusions. When you project long-term fantasto, a person who's barely stepped into our life, you stop seeing clearly. You overlook red flags. You ignoring camputus. You start investing emotional energy into a story, not a person. And here's the real danger. When she doesn't match that story, you don't just feel disappointed. Did you feel betrayed? But the betrayal wasn't hers. It was your own projection. A stoic man learns to enjoy what's real, what's present, and what's proven, not what's imagined. Let's say you've been talking to her for 3 weeks and she's sweet, spontaneous, says all the right things. You catch yourself wondering what she'd like as a mom, or how she'd look walking beside you at family events. Stop. Pull back. Remind yourself that you know is the highlight reel. Stoius, not committed bows. It's easy to fall in love with potential. But connection takes time, consistency, clarity. A man rooted in himself was rushed Torite. The ending before it's even read first few chapters. He stays present, detached, and observant because that's how you see people for who they're the energy of stoic masculinity, are not who you hope they'll become. 6. Don't be her backup Lynn or emotional filler. One of the most painful positions an older man can find himself in with a younger woman is becoming her backup plan. The safe, stable option she keeps in her back pocket while she chases emotional highware. At first, it might not be obvious. Shitx. You, when she's bored, calls when her situationship crashes or makes you feel like you're her safe space. And Becca's you're older, more patient, more understanding. You'll lento, thatro, thinking maybe she's just not ready no. But she'll come around. But that mindset is a slow poison because what's really happening? Fear being used as Aplis holder, you're her emotional filler. Someone who gives her the validation and support is not getting from the men she truly wants to pursue. And the moment they come back around, you're pushed tough side again. A stoic man goes into kept health and her interest. He doesn't cling to someone, Yuho only reaches for him when needs convenient. He recognizes when the Namki's lopsided and calmly exits. There's no drama, no emotional breakdown, just acquiote. Powerful decision that says, if I'm not your priority, I'm not your option. And that walking away from Bankth cup up, it's what restores your power because the moment you agree to be the support system for someone who has notchin of building something real with you. You surrender yourself. You start shrinking jurors down, just to stay in her orbit, even though the center off. Her attention is always elsewhere. Think of the sex symbol. She cancels plans with you, but still wants to FaceTime late at night just to talk. Or vents about other guys, then says things like, I don't know why I always feel better after talking. To you, that's not affection. If you're not the one she's sexited about, You're the one who makes feel emotionally fed when everything goes as falling apart. And as flattering as that might feel in the moment, it's a dead end. A stoic man doesn't orbit around someone else's shows. He builds a life that's full enough, rich enough, and solid and orthodox. He doesn't need to chosen. He simply chooses what aligns with his peace. Anything less, he walks away quietly, fully, and never looks back. 7. Never lose your mission for her. There is nothing more self-destructive for a man, especially an older one, than losing sight of his mission for the attention or affection off a woman. And when that woman is younger, vibrant, unpredictable, and full of emotional intensity, it becomes dangerously easy to drift off course. Final advice, that changes the game. You start skipping that gym because she wants to stay in bed. You delay a meeting. Beckos, she had a row morning and just needs you. You stop writing, building, leading a Lin, the name of Venge available. And little by little, without even realizing, your life starts orbiting hers. Your goals take a back seat, your structure softens, your age dulls. And the very thing that Ansa made you attractive, your direction, your purpose disappears. A stoic man understands that his mission is not negotiable. It's not something he sets aside to make it work. It's the foundation of his life. Without it, he becomes anchored, vulnerable to the wings of whoever holds his attention. That weak. Women are drawn to men who are going somewhere who are already building. Something with or without them. And when you abandon that path to chase emotional connection, you don't gain love. Few lose respect, especially from her base. Even if she doesn't say it out loud, she feels it when a man starts placing her above his path. She stops seeing you as a leader and starts seeing you as another man who is willing to think of the difference between a man who says, "I can't talk right now," true. In reflection, I'm deep in a reject for Susti, one who instantly picks up. Every call cancels plans and rearrange of everything to be present. Thy first man is living on purpose, thy scanned ice living on approval, and she can feel the difference. The truth is, if a woman genuinely cares about you, she wants you to stay loyal to your mission. She admire your discipline, even when it means less time with her. But if you'd beat that up for her, you'd become more desirable. You became mentor. Man holist himself trying to something that can only be given freely. A stoic man remains unmoved by emperor emotion when it reerminates. Regret he walks his path no matter hoeks beside him. Conclusion. My dearest truth, and I want you to zot with it for a moment. Being an older man in the presence of a younger woman is sent at a disadvantage.